It is the Blitz here on 94.1, a San Antonio sports star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Next weekend, San Antonio is going to be the sports capital of the world. Everything going on, all eyes, every network is going to be doing something from San Antonio, including out at TPC San Antonio. The Valero Texas Open gets underway officially next Thursday, but there's activities all next week. Executive Director Larson Segerdahl joining us here in studio. I'm surprised you actually have time to get away, right?
For you guys, anything. No, this is actually a nice respite. I've got to put my cell phone on silent for a few minutes here while I'm with you guys and enjoy a little conversation about the VTO. So,
well, at this point in time, Larson, I'm not saying it's all done, but a lot of the heavy lifting, is it done by now, or you still got a lot of work to do?
Yeah, look, the devil's in the details. This is when all the fine-tuning happens this week. This is all the final polishing and making sure that everything is ready to shine for all the thousands of fans, hundreds of sponsors, players, caddies, media that we welcome into TPC San Antonio. Make sure everything is dialed in so that we can give them a great experience next week. So a lot of work still being done this week, but it's been 11 months of planning up until this point to get us ready for what everyone will enjoy next week.
It is so crazy when you think about all the work that goes into 4 days. And a couple of years ago, you told me about the attendance numbers, and you were like, you know, what you think about basketball game, you can see where everybody's at. Football stadium. When you go out to a golf course, there are so many people out there, but it might not necessarily feel that way because they're spread out over 18 holes and then all the recreation areas. People love going out there. It's not just golf fans.
It's an experience, and you're right. I mean, it's literally hundreds of acres. People are spread out across the beautiful golf course that is TPC San Antonio and the Oaks course, but yeah, it's golf is the excuse to gather the San Antonio community. But there's everything else imaginable out there that we've created, and we essentially build a small city out there. It's all temporary structures. It's all brought in. We start our on-course build about 11 weeks ago, back in January, to get ready for next week, and so everything from food and activations. You don't need to be a golf fan to come out and have a great time with friends, family, and a beautiful atmosphere.
Well, and that's the beauty of it. You can bring the kids out there. You guys have a whole park that you build out there with stuff for the kids to do, and they can run around and just be kids.
Play sets. This year we're going to have face painters out there. We've got, courtesy of University Health, we've got our family care pavilion. So diaper changing stations, nursing rooms. I mean, we cater to the families for sure.
Minix wanted to volunteer for that, by the way. He's going to stand right there to change diapers.
We've got a diaper changing room just for you, Jason. So,
this is fun having you in, Larson. Let's talk about the adult playground, the all-inclusive stuff and the alcohol that you have plenty of.
Plenty of that, yeah. I mean, we've got great venues this year that people are going to be able to see and enjoy. Our cabana presented by Lexus is one of the hottest spots on the golf course on the 16th green. You get to be in the front rows of things like Jordan Spieth when he gets a hole-in-one like he did last year, right? And the place goes wild. So all-inclusive opportunity there in terms of food and beverage. On the 18th green, we've got our Centennial Club presented by San Antonio Airport. And that one actually is new and improved. We've moved it up closer to the green, so the views, I was actually just in it the other day, and it is spectacular. I mean, you feel like you are on top of the green there on 18. So great opportunities for folks to come out, enjoy some high-end hospitality. But even on a grounds ticket, you can come out and have a great time. Our concession stands, we've got some awesome food choices for the foodies here in San Antonio, and certainly plenty of cold beer and whatnot for the drinks.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people do. They just buy a grounds ticket, and they just like to walk around and experience all of it, don't they?
Exactly, and we take care of those folks. We've got great public bleachers in all the key holes, and like I said, there's something for everybody. Literally from 8 a.m. till the sun goes down when the last putt drops, and Funny enough, this year, obviously there's that other tournament going on here in town that is taking up some of the spotlight, which we love because it's bringing so many people to our city. And so one of the fun things we're doing this year is Saturday night after play, we're going to have a watch party, what we're calling our Final Four, F-O-R-E.
Nice.
Watch party. We've got one of our big video boards in the backyard, part of the TPC San Antonio. We'll have the games featured. We've got all sorts of fun sort of combo golf, basketball activations, Papa Shots, things like that, so people can enjoy the watch party.
Larson Segerdahl joining us here in a studio on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. He's the executive director of the Valero Texas Open, and you bring up that other event, and I've had more people say, do you guys not consult a calendar before you plan these kind of things? But if you realize you don't really have control over that, right?
Yeah, the PGA Tour and NCAA kind of are going to do what they want to do scheduling wise. But you know what? This is an amazing thing for San Antonio, and we've done nothing but embrace it. We think it's a huge opportunity. I think, quite honestly, for both events, to be able to collaborate with each other, for us to be able to benefit the fans that come into town. We're going to have a ton of sports fans in San Antonio that weekend, and basketball isn't being played all the time, and golf isn't being played all the time, right? And so in those downtimes, you get to have a little bit of crossover, and we're seeing a lot of that, particularly with some of our corporate partners. They're bringing in tons of VIPs and guests into town for the Final Four, and they're saying, hey, Sunday's kind of a down day for us. What can we do out there with you at the Valero Texas Open? So I think it's just a huge win for us to collectively showcase the best that San Antonio has to offer.
Larson, you guys have done such a great job with this tournament. It is still the oldest tournament on the PGA Tour, correct?
Yeah, we are. We're officially the third oldest on the PGA Tour, sixth oldest professional golf tournament worldwide. But huge history. This is our 103rd year.
Wow.
But the longest running professional tournament in the same city. So San Antonio has that claim, and we'll always have that claim as long as we continue on, which we plan to do.
Yeah, there's no end in sight for the Valero Texas Open.
Not at all.
You think about all the fun for the spectators, whether you're getting just a day ticket or one of the elevated experience, which is I highly recommend.
I recommend it too. Yes.
You might look at that and go, I don't know, it's worth every dollar.
Yes.
Worth every dollar.
Question.
And Ryan Eagle will tell you just because the bathroom that's right there.
There,
but forget about the all-you-can-eat and drink. But there's a bathroom right there just for Joe.
Luxury restrooms are important at a golf tournament.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Since you were talking about diapers, I mean, for Ryan Eagle, I mean, it's certainly there. But one of the things that I think is very cool that says a lot about San Antonio, because the history of the Valero Texas Open, the amount of money it raises for charity, but when you have a Final Four coming into town, the number of volunteers that they need, and they've got a waiting list. You haven't had a drop-off in volunteers. In fact, you were telling us the other day, you have a waiting list for volunteers as well. That's incredible. It says a lot about our city.
Yeah, it is incredible. It's we've got record numbers of volunteers this year. We hit 2,400 volunteers. Last year we had 2,100. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it just further showcases why San Antonio is such a great community. They care about these events. These events mean something to them, right? And it's just so much civic pride here. So to have that kind of widespread community support across both events, right? Not just VTO, not just the Final Four, but both is just fantastic. We're so grateful for that kind of support.
You know, Larson, I want your job, and I think a lot of people do, because this guy, you just recruit, right? And you're a recruiter. You go to other tournaments and you talk to players and try to get them here. Yeah. And when I say you guys have done a great job, the names that have started coming to this golf tournament just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, we're really proud of that. I think we're really sort of hitting our stride right now with the field strength. This year we've got 7 of the top 12 in the world golf rankings. I think 8 of the top 16. So half of the top 16 players in the world are coming here. We've got 4, 5, 6, and 7 in the world all coming here with Colin Morikawa, Ludwig Aubert, Tommy Fleetwood, and others. And then you've got guys like Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Justin Rose, who's coming to San Antonio for the first time in a long time. Patrick Cantlay is making his first appearance this year. So it's I think it showcases again just the level of the experience that we're able to provide. We're fortunate to have an incredible venue at TPC San Antonio and the JW Marriott out there. It's a great host venue. And Valero, none of this happens without Valero and their commitment to the PGA Tour, to rolling out the red carpet for these PGA Tour players, their families. This has become one of the most highly attended tour event for the families of the PGA Tour players. They get to experience things like SeaWorld. And I mean, we take them all over town, giving them sort of this VIP treatment. And it's working because they come back year after year.
Larson Segerdahl joining us here, executive director of the Valero Texas Open. Joe mentioned recruiting. For those that don't know, and there's probably a lot of people driving around or listening at work right now, what's the process like when a guy decides that he wants to play an event or not, and then you're rolling, trying to convince him, recruit, that come on and play?
Yeah, look, it's as with anything in life, really. I mean, it's relationships, it's relationship building, and I've been fortunate to cultivate relationships with a lot of the PGA Tour players over my 20 years of doing this, working in golf. But it's everything from text messages on a year-round basis, a phone call, a quick email here or there, obviously going out to other tour events and seeing them face-to-face. All of these things help foster that relationship, so that when it does come time for me to ask them about the Valero Texas Open, I'm going to get a straight answer, and they're not just going to give me lip service. And if it isn't for all those other points of contact, if all I did was go out there and nag them about the Valero Texas Open year round, they'd be like, "Oh my God, here comes that Larson guy! Yeah. Like, I better go hide because he's going to ask me about the VTO again." So, I don't want that to be the reaction, right? And so it's genuine relationships with these guys, and sometimes it works for their schedule and the way they want to set up, particularly as they're preparing for the Masters. Other times they're on the fence. When they're on the fence, man, I go into the research department mode and I'm trying to figure out the stats, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, where else have they won? Did they play the week before, those wins? How do they trend when they're playing multiple weeks in a row? Like that sort of stuff. So I can arm them with all sorts of stats and ammunition to say, hey, I think I'm building a case here. You really ought to, come to San Antonio.
Is that direct with the player's agent, or the wife? If you convince the wife, hey, bring the kids out here. The resort's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would say it's all three. I wish there was a silver bullet, for all of them. But every player is a little bit different. Just as you cultivate relationships with the players, you cultivate it with the managers and with the wives and with the caddies too. The caddies have influence on where these guys play sometimes. So yeah, I think it's all of the above. But building that relationship, building that trust, opens the door for those sorts of conversations and saying, hey, you know what? I at least want you to give it another look because of these reasons, right? And maybe it doesn't always convince them, but at least you've given them something to think about. And maybe it doesn't help this year, but it might help you the next year.
Larson, you guys, and I remember when the push that you guys wanted to get that date right before the Masters, and you pushed for it and got it. A lot of guys back in the day anyway didn't want to play the week before the Masters. It seems like, though, more and more now want that spot, and they want to play the week before the Masters. How does all that work?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a shift in that. I think we generally have Tiger to thank for the original thinking of, man, we don't want to play the week before a major because that's how Tiger does it, right? But now more and more you're seeing guys that they want the competitive reps. They want to stay fresh. In some ways, they like the distraction from, Augusta. They don't want to be thinking about it too early because then they just kind of get in their own head a little bit and psych themselves out. So they like the distraction. Look, I think we at TPC San Antonio, we provide a tough test of golf. It's a fair test of golf. But things like our green complexes, sort of the widening of the fairways, some of the things that we've done out at TPC to more mimic the playability of Augusta, I think has trended really well for these guys, and they appreciate that. And they're able to take things from this week in San Antonio and apply it to their play in San Antonio or in Augusta, excuse me. So, it's a great spot to be. I think more and more guys are liking that week before a major championship, which is good for us.
You mentioned Tiger, and for so long, he's Tiger.
Yeah.
Another injury. Who's that next golfer? And it's for a while, was it going to be Spieth? Was it going to be Rory? Who's the next golfer you think is going to be the guy to carry the mantle that Tiger can't anymore?
Man, that's a big question. Look, I think Ludwig Aubert is the real deal. He's a five-tool player. He's got the game. He's got the look. He's one of the nicest guys on the PGA Tour, genuine as can be. I think he's going to be somebody to watch for a long, long time. Victor Hovland just won on Sunday. I think if he is when he's playing at his best, there's nobody beating him. He's an unbelievable talent. He's got that competitive fire where he just wants to, take anybody in his way down when it's down to the wire. So if he can start building up his consistency, I think he's going to be in for the long haul.
Larson, when you say that, and we all enjoyed watching Tiger and his dominance, right, on the PGA Tour. I like it like this because you go into a tournament now, you don't know who's going to win. They could be 20 guys have an opportunity.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's really one of the great parts of the PGA Tour. I mean, we're going to have a field of 156 players next week. Every single one of them, when they step on that first tee on Thursday, is capable of winning that golf tournament. I mean, the margin between the top players, number 1, Scottie Scheffler, and number 156, is razor thin. Mm-hmm. And so anybody can win on the PGA Tour, and those storylines are incredibly compelling, as you're watching a broadcast, as you're following a golf tournament. And it's fun to see who these up-and-comers are. The guy that you'd never heard of a week ago is now standing in the winner's circle, and who knows where that takes him from there, because so much of golf is confidence, right? And between the ears. And, once you get somebody on a roll, man, it can snowball real fast.
And next Thursday, we'll be live out there at the Valero Texas Open. They don't let us on one of the greens anymore, so we're over there near the driving range, I believe, is where we're going to be this year.
We've got you within good shouting distance, so no.
Blame Rob Thompson for that.
Well, that's where people can come see us, too. Yes. We get people finding us there all the time out there, so it's a good thing. How do people get tickets, Larson?
Yeah, they can visit ValeroTexasOpen.com and purchase their tickets through Ticketmaster. Everything is digital, so super easy, and we've got plenty of opportunities for folks to come out and enjoy this great San Antonio tradition.
It's going to be a good time. Larson Segerdahl, the executive director of the Valero Texas Open. I know it's 90-0 for you right now. Appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me, and look forward to seeing you out there next week.